Gotta keep chopping. My backbone broke, and my shoulder sore. Gotta keep chopping. To chop some more, I gotta keep chopping. Gotta keep chopping. Well, chop all day, chop all night. Don't chop it wrong, boys. You gotta chop it right. You gotta keep chopping. Gotta keep on chopping.
The Dugout Canoe Project was created from a desire to discover what we could learn from the past. By using tools of our predecessors, working in a material that's very organic, we hope to be able to discover some things that would have been lost in our modern day society.
I grew up around the canoes because my family were canoe builders. My late Uncle Henry Billy used to carve canoes. So a gentleman by the name of King Coons asked me, and he was always interested in building a canoe too, from the dugout, from the old ways of burning technique and the hewing. I knew how to do it, but I never had hands-on. So when I was asked to do this project, it would be an opportunity to do something that I always want to do. So from just a conversation alone, that's how it blossomed to this project. And so it's a good project, plus it's a community project too.
My great-great-grandfather and my grandfather and my father were all woodworkers, and so I grew up in an environment that encouraged you to discover what could be learned from the tree. With all our modern conveniences and all the things that have helped society as a whole through science, inventions, discoveries, I think that a lot of that pulls us away from the earth. So the Dugout Canoe Project was created to try to learn something from the past, learn something from a people who had only the natural resources to work with for them to survive. Dugout canoes were the transportation. They were the tractor trailers of the day. They allowed you to fish and hunt and transport goods and trade items. It was a life-giving vehicle. So it was a very, very important part of our cultural heritage, and not just in North America where we're working on this project, but all over the world people were using dugouts, and still are today. So the idea was to see what we could learn from the past and relate it to what's happening today, and possibly relating it into what's going into the future, and what we could learn from our fellow human beings as well as what we could learn from the wood.
So overall, in general, to me, I think this canoe building project kind of brought the Common Ground spirit together as one.
Common Ground on the Hill is a traditional arts organization, and what I mean by that is arts that spring out of ethnic traditions. And we are located on the campus of McDaniel College in Westminster, Maryland, and we're now entering our 17th year. We teach and celebrate these arts in 2 separate weeks of workshops in the summer called Traditions Weeks. And this varies between music and dance, visual arts, craft arts, and film, all of which spring from ethnic traditions. And the concept is to find common ground within those traditions by way of the things that the artists teach. We can then have a basis from which to have discussion and dialogue about ourselves and what we have in common, especially through the arts.
that's how it took off, and it came about, and the tree was provided us by the Creator when the time was right.
Trees, when they're growing, are very, very wet. And that moisture fills the cells of the wood. After a tree is cut, it starts to dry out, and in the full form of the tree, without cutting any boards out of it, as that wood dries, the cells shrink because the water evaporates, and the tree starts to crack. Traditionally, dugouts were made next to water, and they were kept wet all the time. In our case, McDaniel College is up on a hill, and there's no streams or areas where we could keep the boat in while we were working on it. So we needed to choose a wood that wouldn't crack so much when it dried out, because if you use something like a tulip poplar, when that dries out, it creates large cracks in the wood, and of course then your boat is no good. It leaks so much water it won't float. So we were fortunate enough to find a sycamore tree that was growing near a building, and the tree was dying. It was another year or two and it would have been completely dead. A large tree that was 3 feet in diameter at the base, and 12 feet up it was about 2 feet 6 inches. And we were fortunate that the tree needed to come down, and the college offered it to us for the Dugout Canoe, and the tree service that cut the tree down found out what we wanted to do with the wood and decided to donate the delivery fees. So they delivered it to us right on campus. Something that we can do in modern times, but of course in the old days we would have had to have worked on it right where it fell.